Hello dear students and parents. So finally today the wait for Maharashtra CET 2017 was over. Approximately 2.9 lakh students had appeared for this examination, and there were mixed response about the examination, but yes, on the overall this examination was a much better exam. And today's presentation, I'll be trying to give you the entire analysis about physics, chemistry, mathematics, how did the students find the paper. So if I have to be quick and explain you about mathematics, definitely in details I'll be talking, but on the preview side regarding mathematics paper, students found it lengthy, okay? But every question from mathematics had appeared from the government textbook. So a child who has thoroughly practiced from the government textbook, I personally feel the child should not be having a problem to crack this paper. Coming to chemistry, chemistry paper was a very straightforward paper, and there were hardly 5 to 6 numericals in this paper. Again, the key to success was that if you master line by line your government textbook, I'm sure this paper must be a paper of delight for those students. Physics, on the other hand, was again not very difficult. Okay, it was a lengthy paper. Direct substitution of the formulas were observed. They were shared to me by the students. And I feel students must have found it lengthy, because of which some of the students had certain problems saying that they could not complete the paper. But on the whole, the paper was much better. I personally feel in this paper, any score above 170 marks, a child should be having no problem to get or secure a seat in government college in Maharashtra. I repeat on this point, any score 170 marks on 200 above should not have a problem to get a government seat in Maharashtra colleges. Well, to begin with, I'll just give you a recap how the paper was. We had two sections. That was the paper 1, which comprised of mathematics. This was interesting. This was for the first time that they had maths as the first paper. Okay, and they had 50 questions in this paper, and each question carrying 2 marks. So summation was 100. This paper was for 1.5 hours. The paper started at 10 o'clock. 10 to 11:30 was the paper. Then the students had a gap of around about 1 hour. The next paper was physics and chemistry combination. This combined paper was again for 1.5 hours. Physics comprising of 50 marks, chemistry comprising of 50 marks, 50 questions each. The summation turned out to be 100. So 100 physics, chemistry put together, and 100 mathematics. Summation was 200 marks. One more surprising thing, and I feel it was the best thing what the conducting body for this examination had done. This is the first time they had given the question papers on that very day. So that became very simple for us to give the right analysis. To begin with, I would love to start with my subject, that is mathematics. I have tried to distribute, or rather tell you how many questions were asked from each chapter, just to get an insight about the paper. So by normal distribution, only 1 question was asked from it. Probability distribution, 4 questions were asked. Differential equation, 3 questions. Application of definite integral, 1. Definite integration, 3 questions. Integration, 4 questions. So if you ask me the entire integration chapter put together, 4 plus 3 plus 1, summation turned out to be 8 questions. Application of derivatives, 4. Differentiation was 4. So total 8 questions from this module. Continuity was 2 marks. Linear programming was 2 marks. 3D plane, 3D line, and 3-dimensional geometry, if I sum it up together, 3 plus 2 plus 1. So total 6 questions were asked from 3D geometry. Vectors, 4 questions. Pair of straight lines, 3 questions. Trigonometric functions, 3 questions. There was a beautiful question from trigonometric function. Matrices, 3 questions. And mathematical logic, 3 questions. So if you sum it up, the summation of the questions were 50. I personally saw students had doubt in 6 to 7 questions. That was an ambiguous thing, and perhaps that tension was carried forward in the next paper. And again, they must have found physics lengthy. because of which there might be some of the students feeling that the paper was not good at their end. Well, talking about the difficulty analysis of the paper, uh, there were approximately in mathematics 29 questions easy, which translates into 58 marks. 15 questions were moderate, okay, 30 marks which gets translated into, and 6 questions, as I told you, rather than using the word difficult, they were little tricky. When I use the word tricky, it means that you need to be a little careful in reading the question. If you miss out certain information given in the question, quite possible you might miss out the right option and select the wrong option given in the answers. Well, so 6 questions were difficult, which translates into 12. So I feel in mathematics, on 100, anybody scoring in this paper 90 marks above is going to be a pretty good score. Coming to next subject, that is chemistry. As I told you earlier, the key to success for chemistry was line by line you need to understand and by heart things from the textbook. So chemistry in everyday's life, 2 questions were asked. Polymers, 2 questions. Biomolecule, 3 questions. Organic compound containing nitrogen, 3 questions. Aldehyde, ketone, carboxylic acid, 3 questions. Alcohol, phenol, ethers were 5 questions. Haloalkanes and arenes were 3 questions. Coordination compound, 2. DNF block elements, 2. P block being a very major section from the inorganic part, 6 questions were asked from here. General principle and process of isolation of elements, 2 questions. Chemical kinetics, 3 questions. Electrochemistry, 3 questions. Chemical thermodynamic and energetics, 4 questions. Solution and colligative properties, 4 questions. Solid state, approximately 3 questions. So I feel the distribution was more or less given equal. And numericals were a little less. Yes, that's the typical nature of chemistry paper. You have lot of theory part. So this year approximately 44 questions odd were completely based on theory. Well, if I have to talk about the difficulty level analysis of chemistry, 32 questions were easy, each question carrying 1 mark, so translates into 32 marks. There were 14 questions which were moderate, so 14 marks were reserved for that section. There were 4 questions which were difficult. So I feel I told you chemistry more or less was simple. Difficult when I mean I'm just trying to say that your children had to put in little effort to remember the right answer. Some of the options are so similar that a child can get confused whether to mark one option or the other option. Coming to the next subject, physics. Well, physics, I told you in the initial part that the calculations were a little lengthy, but not difficult. They were direct substitution of the formula. So communication system was 1 question asked on this section. Semiconductors, 2 questions. Atom, molecule, nuclei, 3 questions. Electrons and photons, 2 questions. Electromagnetic induction, 3 questions. Magnetism, 2 questions. Magnetic effect of electric current, 1 question. Current electricity, 3 questions. Electrostatics, 3 questions. Interference and diffraction, 2 questions. Wave theory of light, 3 questions. Kinetic theory of gases and radiation, the KTG part, 3 questions. Stationary waves, 5 questions. Wave motion, 1 question. Surface tension, 2 questions. Elasticity, 2 questions. Oscillation and rotational motion, 4 each, that means 8 questions. Gravitation, 2 questions, and circular motion, 2 questions. Let's go to the difficulty level analysis of this paper. So there were exactly 16 questions which were very straightforward. You just need to read the question and just tick mark the answer. 26 questions were moderate. When I say moderate, that means they were just application of the formula. You just need to put in the right data and you get the answer. 8 questions are difficult. Difficult again when I say I'm talking with respect to the lengthy calculations. Again, they were straight formula based questions, but the questions, rather the solutions were a little lengthy. Perhaps the students must have run out of time, because of which they must be having little complaint about physics. But overall, yes, physics was not a very difficult paper. So this was all about the analysis of today's Maharashtra CET 2017 paper for engineering section. I'm sure you must have liked this analysis. Please like us and please share us. Any other queries you would like us to answer on, please do mention, please comment on that, because I'll be having a lot of video series about the next part, and I'm sure it will be helpful to everybody. Thank you so much.